see you. Hello.
Yeah, I
Hello.
can
Oh, I can
see and
see
I
each
can hear
other.
you.
Hello. Oh, I think it's
How
working
we
now.
doing?
Hello.
That's perfect. How are we?
Oh, I'm all good. I'm all good. It's been a bit of a busy day. I've been a bit, when you have one of them days where you're a bit all over the shop and you're a bit like, oh my God, what's going on, and you can't really catch up with yourself. I'm kind of having one of them, you know what I mean? It's been a bit crazy,
I
but are you
feel
all
you.
right, Jordan? How are you? How's your
Yeah,
day been?
my day's been good, man. My day's been good. I've just been chilling, just been off work, so spending some quality time with the family, spending time with the kids. So it's been good. It's more tiring than I was imagining, but still good.
Yeah, oh, I get you. I get you. I'm with you on that. Trust me, I am with you. Yeah, I'm just going to ask you a few questions just so our Stoke listeners can get to know you a little bit better. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm ready to start whenever you are.
Fire away.
That's brilliant. Are you up in Scotland? Is that where you are? Is that where you're based? What's like
Yeah,
the
so
music
I'm
community like there? Like how is it up there?
So, I mean, it's like two different kind of like major scenes. It's either like Scottish indie music or like Scottish like rap and like drill music. So like the scenes like everyone is mostly connected solely through like venues. Like the genres don't really mix that much here unless you're more in like the art kind of experimental scene. But I mean, the amount of like love that everyone's got for like it's more rather than the actual scene itself, it's more tailored towards the actual venues than the music. So like there's so many like staple venues that all these bands, like everyone that you know is like an act from Scotland that's up and coming has played this venue like once or twice before and they've like supported other acts, but they've never like fully interacted. So I think it's more unified in a sense, especially now than ever after like the whole like lockdown happened as well. Like people were like finally like rallying for more live music. Like it didn't matter what. So like that's more the scene here is more just the union between venues and everyone that plays there more so than like the acts themselves. So I mean it's quite a unique blend in that sense as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with that because I've interviewed a few people from Scotland now, and there definitely does seem to be that really, really strong connection that you guys have with the venues, like you say, and you are very connected together. In terms of like creativity and what you guys are creating, and it's really good to see. It's something that's kind of like lost in other kind of like
Mhm.
places in the country, I think. Everywhere else it seems a bit disjointed. I don't know whether that's because Scotland's a
Mhm.
bit of a smaller place. But yeah, it is a bit weird, but you are right. I do agree with what you're saying. Um, is it hard for you to like balance like personal life and then kind of like your work life and then like a music life, or do you find that they're all kind of like balanced quite easily?
So good question. I mean, it did take some getting used to, especially after like when my daughter was born. But that just kind of fueled the creativity. Like as cliche as it sounds, like it did fuel like that creative side a lot more, like experiencing that side of life rather than what I was kind of going through before, which was very just kind of minimal, like first world problems. But like since then, it's like you find your pockets. Like, yeah, it can be difficult sometimes. Like, you might not get stuff done on like the dates that you would like you kind of set up in your mind. But when you do get that time, it's literally like more so like I prefer doing my sessions now than I did when I did actually have all of that free time to do them. Because now when I do it, it's like, right, no fanning about, just like focus on like the actual like the project or the piece or the material itself rather than just kind of playing about with like ideas. It's more like, right, let's get something down so we can listen back and then just kind of take it from there.
Yeah. And do you use like personal experience, such as like maybe family members or kind of like friends, as inspiration for your music?
Oh, 100%. I mean, if it doesn't come across in my actual like lyrics or like written work, which sometimes it obviously does, especially on this album, but I'd say it is just more so the support that I do get from everyone that's in my kind of circle. Like I'm really blessed to have such a great kind of team and like a great sense of support from like my family and my fiance and just the like inspiration from my children as well. Just actually enjoying like that part of like new life is just it just sparked something else in me more so than what I was trying to do before. Like it's just it's just it is what it is at the end of the day. It's just feeling just it's just pure like love and appreciation and support for that. So I do see inspiration like every single day from them as well because it just pushes me to keep going in one way or another.
Yeah, and see, it's kind of weird for me because I think you're the first artist that I've actually interviewed that has got like a full like family, has started like a family of their own and can kind of like draw those inspirations. And it's so nice to hear that. And it's so nice to hear that you do, take that into consideration and do use that through your art. And it is really nice to hear because a lot of the times when I ask that question, I kind of get back, oh, it's kind of artificial or maybe like a situation that hasn't happened, like an imaginary type kind of like thing that
Mhm.
kind of like people put into their music. So it's really nice to hear that you have that like lived experience. It adds to the realism of the music. And is that what keeps you like motivated as an artist, or is it something else?
So I definitely say it's like a mixture of like all of that as well. Like, don't get me wrong, some of my material is more artificial because I can like stand on a mountain and honestly say like this is like the happiest and most content like I've ever been in my entire life, despite what some of my songs might be about. When it's more kind of striving towards, writing about those sort of things, it's just more kind of like from a character point of view that I've kind of built with this kind of era of the solo stuff for like the last couple of projects and then this record as well. So it is kind of like in a sense artificial, but it's more so rather it's like a character in a movie more so than like it's trying to be like oh writing it from the perspective of someone to be like rather than being it like writing it from the perspective of someone else to be personal. It's more like from the perspective of a character. But there are some moments where I do find that my writing and like my experiences do bleed over and that does influence me like constantly with my writing is trying to create like this kind of weird blend of like personal experiences but not as I kind of remember them in a sense, just trying to kind of not give too much away for it to be like really like clear cut and personal. It's more like okay, how can I take those experiences and mold them into something brand new and then entertain myself with it at the same time.
Yeah, and I suppose that adds to like the realism as well, you know what I mean? And you've got that realism flowing through the music because obviously it's like, it's quite authentic experience as they blend over, you know what I mean? And is realism and being realistic and kind of relatable to your audience important to you? Like, like that relatability, is that something that you want to kind of like carry on forward with your music?
Oh, most definitely as well. Like it's just one of these things where like my shows currently consist of 99% of the credits like someone I know, but I would rather take that than anything else. And it's that relatability, like we're all here for it, we're all here kind of just make what we want, do what we want. It doesn't matter what the kind of status quo is for like writing or performing or even like your job or whatever like that is that you've got going on in your life. You shouldn't take that as like the be all and end all. You can like take that and just mold it to how you want to live it as well. So like that relatability like does kind of bleed through in the music in a sense that it's if I can get up and do it and I'm like your everyman, like family man, 9 to 5, there anyone can do it as well. And you can do it in your own sector. You can become like popular, famous in like your own mindset. Like as soon as you see like I'm still stuck with that mindset where like how it was when I first started versus like say like 20 years from now, it's like billions of streams. I'm just like one stream's enough just to know it's reaching somebody and they're relating to those lyrics, like and relating to the music and knowing it's like, oh, okay, I can maybe try my hand at that. I think that's the end goal, but that's like the end goal of like every artist as well. Like they want to inspire and have people relate to them in a sense as well. But yeah, I mean, it just is how it is, and at the end of the day, I suppose, and if people relate to it, you know, that's that's the end goal as well, and it's always nice to hear.
See, I'm really glad you said that. Really, really glad that you said that because, I ask these questions to a lot of people and I get like a range of answers. And I always ask like when will artists be content with what they've got and where will they
Mm.
judge how far they've come and think to themselves, oh, this has been a success, this was worth doing. And to hear you say, even with one stream, one person reaching one person, that's a success to you. And it's so good to hear because a lot of people, it's good to dream big and be really, kind of like reaching for the stars, but at the same time you need that relatability and you need that connection, to people. And for you to say that you've got that connection to, even if it was one person, it's really, really good to hear because it shows the passion that you've got and the care that you've got, and it's really good to see that shining through. You know what I mean? Um, Really, really good to hear. Kind of like shifting gears a bit now and kind of talking about the music itself. Um, would you ever consider changing genres like quite drastically? Maybe like a long way down the road in the future. Kind of like, could you see yourself being able to change quite dramatically and like evolving?
Definitely, 100%. I'm trying not to give too much away to like what I'm planning on doing after this record because I've already started it. So I don't want to give too much away, but that's definitely something I'm like kind of dabbling in. I mean, I can kind of like cite some of the references and like influences I'm looking at the moment just to kind of give people a rough idea. Like with like the past stuff that I've been doing, it's more kind of like in the genre lane of like kind of, like bedroom experimental kind of R&B. Like obviously it's still got like that kind of twang, like that modern kind of R&B feel with like the auto-tune vocals. More inspired like Frank Ocean, James Blake, The Weeknd, stuff like that. But this kind of stuff's taken a little bit more with this project I'm working on at the moment with a couple of other people is more to do with like kind of influences of like post-punk and like ambient and like kind of like dark gothic like ambient music, just kind of more stuff that's a little bit more atmospheric rather than just kind of like your standard kind of intense kind of ballads or like pop kind of stuff, like your typical kind of, not to say that is like it isn't like typical or it isn't, it's just kind of more like your kind of more relatable song structures for most acts. It's just kind of more free flowing kind of stuff. I mean, I can't really give too much away, but it's not too far away either.
Again, I'm glad you've said that as well because it's really good to be open to these things, and I think that evolution and kind of reinvention is essential in this industry. You know what I mean? I don't think you can go through a career without evolving and without changing. And I suppose it depends on what's going on at the time as well. The time
Mm.
period that we're living in. I suppose that really does influence everything a lot as well. But it's really good to hear that you'd be open to that and you'd be willing to kind of change and kind of like make sacrifices like that and take risks. You know what I mean? It's really important to be doing. And you kind of mentioned and touched upon collaborating with other people. Is that something that you're going to be like open to as well?
Absolutely. Well, I've been always kind of like a bit kind of like not stingy, but kind of like a bit treacherous to try like do collabs with the more solo stuff, just because I'm so sure that it's just me kind of like right. I want to like do everything because that's like what my like influences kind of like do as well. They take the reins on every aspect of the creative process. So like as soon as I get an idea, I want to just roll with it and kind of see where I end up with it as well, because I know that I can just make immediate changes to anything. It's just part of my process. But in regards to collaboration, like I do that all the time, especially because I'm part of a duo currently as well with my brother, kind of James Kearns, who goes by the producer tag of Master Key. He does like insane, like heavy bass productions, like drum and bass, kind of like dub, jungle kind of stuff as well. But we kind of do like this experimental hip hop project together as well. That's kind of like a clash of like punk, kind of clash of like new wave, kind of hip hop, a mix of kind of like just a whole kind of like a new fresh kind of take on Scottish hip hop. So we're doing that currently at the moment as well. In regards to that, helps kind of allow me to kind of step out of my comfort zone when it comes to making stuff for myself, because at least I've got that separation between the two. So with this one, I'm more up for collaborating, experimenting as much as I can with it in that genre, and then there's other stuff that I've done like in the past as well, like with like indie projects and kind of wee bits and bobs here and there. But in the future, I do see more collaborations with the Jordan stuff more so than before. Because I did the whole Echoes EP with James. Like he helped me kind of assist and produced like all of the tracks in the EP, mix and mastered it. So it was basically a 50-50 operation at that point. It's only kind of post that I did want to kind of try my hand at kind of doing everything myself just to see if I could do it more as like a test. But going forward, I mean, this stuff that I'm working on at the moment with the kind of genre switch to the next era is going to be more backed by like a live band. So obviously that's going to allow me to kind of step out of my comfort zone and allow me to freely kind of make new interpretations of like old stuff that's already out because at least it's there. Like I've done all of that, but let me just kind of work on a new take of it with these people that I love like personally and also love as musicians as well because it's all my close friends who are very talented. So it's just looking forward to getting like that together as well, just so it welcomes in that new genre even more that I've got obviously some form of collaboration to ease me into it as well before I kind of take a nosedive.
Yeah, I mean that all sounds so good, so good. Um, all of that. I mean, it's brilliant to hear that you are so open to all these things and that changes are about to happen. It's all really good to hear. And you kind of touched upon kind of like the creative process. Have you ever had to kind of like restrict your creative process or had to compromise like an artistic vision for something else? Have you ever kind of been stopped in doing what you wanted to do? Or has everything been seen creatively that you wanted to do? Has it all come out the way you wanted it?
Surprisingly, it's the latter, to be perfectly honest. There's not a single kind of time where I thought that, me and whoever I was working with were going to clash heads on an idea, and one of us would have to, greatly sacrifice an idea. And in terms of your question, like definitely mine. I mean, with the wardrobe stuff, like me and James will have like one or two kind of being like, no, I think we should do this, or like, no, can we try this? Like we'll all, but that's the thing because that's how me and James work together so well, is because we will try each other's option just to see what it's like. And then literally I could try my version and like my vision and be like, yeah, let's scrap that idea, let's go with yours. Or he could do the exact same as well. It's just all about what sounds good. Like if the first idea sticks, then we stick with that, but then we find another way to reinterpret the same other idea. So it's just a mixed bag of visions that we kind of come together with in regards to just kind of meeting that one creative goal, because we always have the end goal and say like, oh, we should make like a such and such type of track, or we should do like something that features this sample. Like we always have that same like idea that clicks it, and then we just kind of go off in different directions and just constantly meet in the middle at certain points until we just reach the end and we're like, we fucking did it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the same with pretty much all of the other people that I work with as well, because I'm very lucky to, work with and actually be friends with so many laid back musicians that whenever we do anything together, it's more like, let's just jam something out. Let's just put a mic in a room. Let's just press record. We'll go at it for like 30, 40 minutes. We'll see what the best bits are and we'll see like, oh yeah, well, I like that, but let's flesh out this idea, or let's work on this, or let's do another take and see what else we can find. Like it's just more kind of free flowing, but when it comes to more structured recording sessions, because there's a certain amount of time, then me and James are very on the ball with that, with the war drums kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. And again, really good to hear because, again, a lot of the artists that I interview, I ask that question and, they say, yeah, I've had to sacrifice things and things haven't come out really the way that I wanted them to come out. So it's really good to hear that everything has kind of gone well and gone right. And in terms of like the music again, are you interested in kind of like producing physical music? Like cassettes, vinyl, CDs, that kind of thing. I mean, it is very much on the rise again. It's coming back. And again, it's that connection with the fans. And I know it's quite expensive to like produce and kind of like make, vinyl, getting it pressed. It's a very expensive like job. But is that something that you want to be doing in the future?
Ideally, 100%. Like I would love to do like merchandise and physical stuff as well. Like I've definitely, I'd be lying if I said I haven't looked into doing like vinyl copies, like even like a limited like limited test run of like maybe like 20, 30 copies, just so that it exists as well. Like I can keep one for myself and be handing them out to like friends at like whatever price. Like I would love to do that. Like ideally, at the moment, it is just more kind of focusing on, creating as much as possible. But as soon as I find like a concrete idea for like something that's a little bit more, there's a little bit more kind of, there's more of an experience to it as well. Like I feel like it's got to be something very significant in my career to withstand supporting an idea such as the physical copies. Like it's got to be something big. Not that I don't think any of my past releases and current are like nothing big, because they, of course they are. Like everything's the major focus at that point in time. But it's got to be something big. It's got to include like a tour. It's got to include like this massive kind of full like concept album or something along those lines, or it's got to be like something very important has to come along for me to kind of think, let me just sit back, let me save up a little bit or reach out for funding, and then we can look at obviously doing these copies. I'd love to do cassettes as well, because I've seen kind of rates, like cassettes are actually pretty easy to kind of make. I mean, I would love to just like, I had an idea just to kind of do the album on cassettes as well and just hand them out at shows, but like have them like, like if a band was to like rush a record label and give their demo series like hand drawn on, like I'd love to do something like that, just so it's like playing on that idea. So I'd love to do something like that, because I know that's something that if I actually just like put a couple of days work into and just really kind of put that aside, I could get that done. But vinyls would probably be like the number one, because obviously vinyl's taken such a like a incline in the last couple of years as well. So
Yeah.
that's definitely the more important kind of physical. CDs too as well, because people still do like CDs. I still buy CDs. Like CDs are cool. It's just this nifty little product still on the market as well.
There's just something about it, I think. It really connects you to the artist, and it's really nice to have something physical in your hand. And a lot of artists, I think, are turned off by the price and kind of like look at it and be like, oh my God, I'll never be able to do that. But it's really good to hear that that is something that's important to you, again, because it's connecting with the fans. And the thing is with fans, it's never enough. They always want more and more and more, whether it be merch or whether it be physical music. It is legit never enough. And it is definitely coming back in full force, and it's kind of becoming like a standard now to have a bundle, a CD, a vinyl cassette. It's got to be on all the formats, signatures, this, that, and the other. It's kind of becoming
Mm.
an industry standard again, which is really good to see. But again, it's kind of like pricey. But you've kind of been at this for a few years now. What would you say your proudest moments been so far? Big or small? I mean, that is a very tough question. Very, very tough question. There's a lot to go over, but what really sticks out to you?
Really sticks out to me. I mean, there is actually quite a few. I mean, getting BBC introducing recently was a real big highlight. I think that was like one of the biggest ones, because it was just like after working on it for like that project for so long during lockdown with the wardrobe stuff, to then just finally coming back to it, and like the first song we put out receives that much attention and kind of like support is just like wow. And it's always just been something on like my bucket list as well. So that's definitely one. Uh, Doing a gig in an art gallery was one, like a year or so before lockdown. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. Um, just trying to think. So Far Sounds as well was really good. I played for So Far Sounds in February, and that was really cool. Like just like the venue choice was awesome, the way it was handled. Like it really did make me feel like I was like an artist for a day, like rather than just like someone who's coming to do this as a side thing. It really kind of like sparked something like, oh, I could like if I stick at this, I could actually do this. So like seeing that much like praise and like having like just random people come up to you after the show to like talk and like say like, oh, that was great. I really enjoyed that. Like that was a really nice moment, especially just traveling by myself and like not knowing anyone in the room. So I think that is definitely one of them. That and also finishing this record as well. Just it's the first full length project I've worked on from start to finish. that I've been really proud of, and I always go back to it. And I'm like, yeah, there's nothing to change there. So doing that all myself, literally just using an iPhone, was really cool.
Yeah, brilliant. Really, really good choices there. Sounds like really good experiences to be having. And the album's out tomorrow, isn't it? Look at Me Now World. So here's the time to just talk about that. Let our listeners know about it. Are you excited?
I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I've got a weekend down already set so I can set up at midnight when I'm doing my night feeds with my son. I'll be like, yeah, first stream's me. But no, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Is there anything you want to like know about the album?
What are the inspirations behind it?
Inspiration, definitely, definitely like more so like Frank Ocean. I've been into Frank Ocean since like high school, but like really just getting into like the influences behind what kind of leads him to be so creative as well. Like just kind of dabbling with that kind of stuff, like just doing pop music without having to worry about how poppy it is or how soulful or how R&B. Like just creating and then just still having that signature spin on it. I guess like how he's still able to like adapt. So really just like being able to come at my kind of creative bubble and just kind of fully flex what I feel like I can do at this point. I mean, that's definitely the kind of main influence is just trying to, look at these people that I idolize as well, like Donald Glover and these real chameleons, so to speak, as well. So just trying to kind of do stuff like that with that influence has been great. If you're a fan of Frank Ocean, you'll probably like it. If you're a fan of like Joji, The Weeknd, LCD Sound System, like all those types of people as well. Like really just kind of out the box, forward thinking, like R&B and pop music as well. The fact is, it's like the first kind of project I've done that's very kind of there's like something for everyone. There's like upbeat numbers, there's house influences, there's kind of more soulful piano ballads that kind of resonate with my older stuff as well. And then there's just kind of some like field recordings and like ambient kind of stuff as well. So it's really just like if you're up for a unique blend and you think that you're at least gonna like one of the tracks, then it's probably the record for you.
Brilliant. And has it been like a long time coming? Has it taken a while to kind of create the album and get it going?
God, yes, it's been a nightmare. So I've literally like because it was the like when people always ask me just like because like it's like oh it's 7 songs. I'm like, that's quite short. It's like trust me, like wait until you see the hard drives like the stuff sitting there. It's literally went through the cycle of being at least without being like any exaggeration. It's been turned over like 5 or 6 times. There's like 5 or 6 different albums, all with different tracks. Some of the same tracks that are on the album at the moment, just in very, very different versions, just kind of sitting there. But I've got plans for that stuff though, for like a Bandcamp kind of like deluxe edition. But like just like sitting there and just going through the cycles and just being like, no, I'm not putting anything out till I'm happy with it. I don't care how long it's going to take me. I'm going to sit here. It's the longest I've definitely worked on a singular body of work as well. Like it's lasted like about probably 3 years, probably just under 3 years. I've consistently worked at this until like everything down at the minute detail was like perfect in my sense as well. I mean, that's always the vision for everyone, but I was actually surprised by myself, like how like perfect I was wanting this to be. Like I'd like make great, like in my opinion, there's still some really great tracks that didn't make it on it that should have, but they just aren't meant to be on this particular project. Some of that stuff's being repurposed though, so it will see the light of day. Like I don't like sitting with like too much on my hard drive that I can't reuse or kind of sample in the future as well. But it's been a long road, but it's definitely been worth it because everything from the visuals, the whole kind of closing off the Echoes era with this particular body of work and the sound of it and the influences behind it has been more than worth it.
Yeah. I get you, and I completely relate to the kind of like technological side. I can only imagine how much space and how many hard drives you've got going on. Because like it's like with these interviews, I've got memory sticks everywhere, wires everywhere, computers everywhere, everything's all everywhere, and it's a battle to kind of like compress everything and get everything sorted out and organized. It's an absolute nightmare, technologically. But yeah, I thought you were going to say that because you've got Eternal Nurture on there. And has that been out around a year? Has it been out about a year or so? I think.
Yeah, so just like over a year. I think I released that. What was that? November 2021 that came out. So it's gone up like a year,
Yeah,
like, almost a year and a half that that's
yeah,
been out. But the reason why that stuck for so long is because like right, I need to like it was just kind of like a push like, but I need to put out something. Like at least it's something that I've done all by myself. Let me just give them let me just like test the waters and see where we're gonna go with this from here. Like let me just like that was definitely the catalyst to everything. Look at me now, world definitely is now like right this is out. This seems to be getting a good reaction. It seems to be doing okay because like Jim Galatly played it on like amazing radio and it got great coverage there and people had really nice things to say about it. And like I was like just initially it was for a different album altogether, which was announced at that point, which was called Freya's Father. But at that point it was just probably like because it was such a personal title as well, and like the nature of the album and like the songs were like a bit too personal. Like I didn't want it to be so swamped down that I would have to like sit with it for too long and end up like, I wanted it to be perfect down to like every single bit. So like especially naming an album after your daughter, you don't want to kind of ruin any sort of kind of visual idea or any sort of kind of like vision you have for it. That's definitely going to be like a title that I use in the future for like a record, but like just not right now. I just want to get these songs out. I want to perform this to a vision of mine that's separate from this one, but still see it through and still be proud of it. So yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely.
yeah, and it's so exciting, and I think that's the key here with this interview, the excitement around it, and what's to come. There's such a wealth of things that are happening in the future for you. It's so exciting. And a lot of the times when I do these interviews with other people, not a lot is going on, in the future, and they haven't really got much in the pipeline. Um, but there's so much for our listeners, like down in Stoke, to be excited about, and look forward to. And it's really interesting talking to somebody who has got that connection locally and kind of like further on, um, and especially when the music is so good and just of such a high quality. It's really nice to talk to somebody who values that and takes the time to kind of consider their own art. You know what I mean? Like it is really nice to sit down and kind of pick your brains about it. I wish we had more time. We run out of time. Zoom's about to have a go at me, but it wants me to upgrade to Pro. I will not. I will not do it. But it's I wish we had more time because it's also interesting, and you've got such a great body of work behind you and ahead of you. You know what I mean? And I think that that's quite a rare thing to find nowadays, especially as the music industry is now. It's quite a rare thing to find, at least I think. But it has just been wonderful talking to you, Jordan, and having the opportunity to sit down and learn a bit more about the album, which is out tomorrow. We're all really excited for it. It's absolutely banging. And it's just been brilliant getting a chance to talk to you.
Oh, thank you so much, pal. I do appreciate that, Ross. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for inviting me to come and have this little chat with you. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Honestly, the questions have just been absolutely great as well. Like I can't fault them at all. Like it really got me thinking. So I'm like just thank you so much for doing what you do and just thank you for having me as well. And I really appreciate it.